Good morning, friends. Greetings and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your health and vitality and well-being, and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body, you are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health challenge. That is why we are here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 33 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, skin diseases like acne, psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds. Recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system, it's a regenerating system. It is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we are here for you at 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. If you have questions about the longevity products, health challenges, or our true skin health products, if you have a success story you'd like to share, or if you just want to contribute to the conversation, 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side. If you want to purchase longevity products, call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470, or head to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can order longevity products right off our websites, or call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470 for more information. And don't forget to take a look at our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com. We have got $10 off special on our retinol spot treatment, Retinol Roller, I call it, because it comes in a little roller ball. Our retinol spot treatment, aka Retinol Roller, is made with 2% retinol, great for dealing with acne blemishes, to prevent acne blemishes if you feel a zit coming on, or to speed up the healing of one if you catch it too late. You always want to catch the blemish a little bit, just right when you start to see the blemish. The earlier you catch it, the more effective your medication or treatment's going to be. Our Retinol Roller works amazingly if you catch your blemish early enough. If the blemish has already started, it may take a little longer, but it speeds up healing. It's also got our Truth Blemish Repair, our Truth Retinol Roller has salicylic acid in it, as well as vitamin C and vitamin E. You can find out all about it at truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. Okay, we are talking about cysteine, the amino acid cysteine, this really important building molecule found in high-protein foods. The building amino acids are in the high-protein foods, which makes sense. High-protein foods get their building properties from their amino acids. So things like cysteine and methionine and also elements like sulfur are going to be found in your anabolic foods, your building foods. Anabolism means to build. Catabolism means to break down. Health is about being net anabolic, more anabolic than you are catabolic. Catabolic is a breakdown, and net catabolic or net catabolism is associated with being in the hospital, with having cancer, with being frail and old, with being sick. Recovery, healing, growth, youthfulness, anti-aging is about anabolism. You want to be net anabolic, kind of like a business. A business is either in the black or in the red. The idea of you're always spending money in your business, but the idea of the business is that you're making more money than you're spending. If you have a good business, you're net anabolic. You're net building. You're in the black. A net anabolic body is in the black. A net catabolic body is in the red. If you're sick, you're in the red. Simple as that. That really simplifies disease right there. Think of your body as a business. If you're sick, you're in the red. If you're recovering, you're in the black. It takes being in the black to recover. And it doesn't matter that your body's breaking down. It doesn't matter that it's building up. It matters what the bottom line is. In a business, it doesn't matter what you're spending or what you're making. It matters what the bottom line is. You can make $1 million, but if you're losing $2 million, that's not a good business. You can make $1, but if you're not spending anything, that's a better business than if you make $1 million, but you're spending $2 million. So you want to be in the black. Cysteine is about being in the black. Methionine is another in the black protein, high amino acid found in high protein foods. On the other hand, sometimes you could be, in the body anyway, you can be producing too much stuff. You could be overproductive, over-anabolic. That's not a good thing either. Anabolism has to be balanced with catabolism in the body. You got to have the balance of the amount. If you get too many orders in your business, but you can't produce, that's not a good thing either. The orders will start to accumulate. In the same way, if you get too much anabolism or too much building in the body, and the orders start to accumulate, the biochemistry of building will start to accumulate. Got to work on that metaphor, I think, a little bit. If the biochemistry of building in the body is too high, things can start to break down. The body can't handle all that building, all that inventory, all that raw material. And cysteine, out of balance, and high protein foods in general, can cause too much of the building substances to build up, too much of the raw materials to build up, because the body thinks it's supposed to be building. So when cysteine or homocysteine or methionine or sulfur or any of these high protein foods come into the body in too much quantity, the body will overbuild the raw materials. It's anticipating doing stuff. It's anticipating producing stuff, so all the raw materials will accumulate. Well, guess what? One of those raw materials is called cholesterol. Cholesterol is a raw material for building things. When cysteine is elevated and protein is elevated, and for that matter, sugar is elevated and homocysteine is elevated, all these building substances, cholesterol gets upregulated. And because all of these, because of the nutrient deficiencies that we deal with that are associated with all of this building, also is associated with heart disease and various bodily breakdowns. We confuse nutritional deficiencies with, or we combine nutritional deficiencies with elevated cholesterol. So we assume that it's the elevated cholesterol when it's really the nutritional deficiencies. We assume it's the elevated raw material when it's really the nutritional deficiencies. It's not that we're making too much cholesterol, it's that the nutritional deficiencies that cause the cholesterol to build up are behind the problem. You'd be much better off taking B vitamins than a statin drug. If you take B vitamins instead of a statin drug, the chances are your cholesterol is going to start to drop. If you reduce your sugar intake instead of taking a statin drug, chances are your sugar is going to start to drop on its own. If you just take niacin, niacin is a really cool B vitamin because it's involved in the circulatory system and circulatory health, and it's a sugar metabolizing vitamin. It's a sugar processing vitamin. That's what makes niacin so unbelievably valuable for cardiovascular health. It lowers cholesterol, and it helps support circulatory health. It helps support heart health. Better than a statin drug. Statin drug can't give you multiple benefits. Statin drug can give you multiple side effects, but it's not going to give you multiple benefits. Anyway, this whole idea of cholesterol is just scam. It's misleading, it's wrong, it's just plain devious. This idea that cholesterol lowering is going to protect your heart. It looks like it's the cholesterol that's the problem, but it's the nutritional deficiencies in the revved up anabolic system. Revved up by sugar, mostly. Anyway, cholesterol is not the bad guy in heart disease. It's a healing molecule. You don't want to shut down its production artificially. On the other hand, homocysteine, which builds up under conditions of nutritional deficiencies, is at least sometimes a bad guy. Not always. Homocysteine has a function. It's got a powerful anabolic function, as we said. But you got to have it in balance. You got to have it controlled, and it gets controlled and it's in balance by the B vitamins, especially vitamin B6 and B12 and also folic acid, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Homocysteine is really super interesting. I would assume that if not most of you, a good portion of you have heard of homocysteine, you guys listening, but you probably heard of it as being this awful substance that has to be eliminated. And it's a little bit more nuanced than that, as it always is in nutrition. There's a lot of gray area nuance in nutrition, and homocysteine exemplifies that. We'll talk about that when we come back from our break. I am Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll be back after this. Okay, we're back. back on the bright side with lots of open lines for you at 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. I am Pharmacist Ben, and we're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific, 10 to 11 Central Time on the bright side. We're also up at brightsideben.com on our archive page 24/7. If you miss a program, you can review them through the search engine. If you're interested in a specific topic, you can review them through the search engine. You can also purchase longevity products at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com. You can sign up to join the Brightside Ben team for a one-time $30 fee off the websites as well, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. For a one-time $30 fee, you can be in business for yourself. You can be an entrepreneur. If you enjoy the entrepreneur lifestyle, you can help change the world through the very fundamental and basic level of the most important level of good health and good nutrition. 844-236-6010 is our number. We're talking about homocysteine, the very interesting amino acid. Some folks will tell you that homocysteine is toxic. I'm sure many of you, if not most of you, have heard about how bad homocysteine is. And indeed, it is a marker of certain diseases, Alzheimer's disease, autoimmune diseases, strokes, circulatory blood vessel problems. I would say pretty much all long-term health challenges have some element of elevated homocysteine that are associated with them. But does that necessarily mean, does the link between elevated homocysteine and diseases, which is pretty clear, does that mean that there's a causal relationship? I'm not so sure. Most practitioners will say, oh, well, homocysteine is high in people who have autoimmune diseases and Alzheimer's, et cetera, circulatory problems. Cholesterol is high when you have elevated homocysteine. That means homocysteine is a bad guy. I don't know about that. I'm not convinced. Homocysteine, yes, high homocysteine is associated with these things, but maybe it's the thing that causes the high homocysteine in the first place that's the problem. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Homocysteine holds on to a lot of energy. It's a storage molecule for energy. And this high energy nature of homocysteine tends to trigger building. It's an anabolic. And that's why you get upregulation of things, mostly things that clog. You also get changes in how the blood moves. You get clogging of the blood. It's basically a clogging substance. I don't want to say that. It's associated with clogging. Elevated homocysteine is associated with clogging. But you know what? B vitamin deficiency is associated with clogging. And B vitamin deficiency causes the elevated homocysteine. Why is this important? Because we have control over the B complex deficiency. People will tell you that elevated homocysteine is just something, you can take B vitamins as a medicine, but they don't tell you that's the literal cause of it. The literal cause of elevated homocysteine it's B vitamin deficiency as well as methylation deficiency. And this has become very popular to talk about in the world of alternative medicine, at least in the last couple of years. It's become very popular. There's a disease, not a disease, but a biochemical context called MTHFR deficiency. Some of you may have heard of this. And MTHFR deficiency is linked to elevated homocysteine. We're going to talk. I don't want to talk too much about it right now, but I just want to say that there's certain genetic conditions that can cause elevated homocysteine, and people will blame their genes rather than the real problem, which is how you live your life. And this is just highlights a really, really important message, a really, really important concept, and that is we have control. We have so much control over how our body shows up. The vast, vast majority of our bodily dysfunction is within our control as cause and as modify to reverse. And homocysteine, this whole story of MTHFR and homocysteine and methylation and B vitamin deficiency, it's all around that. Homocysteine is because it stores energy, it upregulates things, and upregulation shows up as elevated cholesterol production. It shows up in changes in how sugar is processed. And by the way, homocysteine also, or elevated anabolism buildup, can also show up as inflammation. Inflammation and building go together. Inflammation is a revved up system, and building is a revved up system. They kind of go together. So things that cause lots of building can cause lots of inflammation if they're not controlled. And the net result of elevated homocysteine is inflammation, it's changes in sugar processing, it's how the circulatory system moves, how blood moves. And I think it's really important to recognize that the elevated homocysteine itself may not be the problem. It may be what's causing the elevated homocysteine that's the problem. We got to dig deeper. When we don't dig deep, we tend to make mistakes in how we address the body. It's like cholesterol. Maybe it's not the cholesterol. Maybe it's the thing that causes the high cholesterol that's the problem. Got to dig deep. When you dig deep and you find the causes that are underneath everything, that's where you get your leverage. That's where you get your power. So it's not so much that the homocysteine is toxic. It's the biochemistry of the body that is messed up by generally poor lifestyle choices. And that's what pretty much all long-term chronic degenerative diseases are about. Interestingly, homocysteine levels are associated with eating lots of protein. So people who want to blame homocysteine will tell you not to eat lots of protein. But what they don't notice, because they're not digging deeper, is that veggies and protein are supposed to go together. The veggies help you handle the protein, and people who are eating lots of protein often aren't getting enough veggies. So maybe it's not the protein, the high protein, but maybe it's the low veggies. Vegetables are the cure for elevated homocysteine. Why? Because the vegetables have the B vitamins, and the B vitamins help you process the protein so the homocysteine doesn't build up. Maybe it's that we're eating lots of McDonald's hamburgers and not enough salads. That could easily be the problem. So if somebody says eating too much wants to, and it's not so much you guys who are listening to this program, but a lot of folks will tell you, oh, you're getting too much protein. Don't get so much protein. Protein's associated with elevated homocysteine. Well, maybe it's not the protein, but the low veggies, and maybe by eating more veggies, you could eat more protein. As it turns out, vegetables via the B vitamins are the best way to lower your homocysteine, and low intake of veggies, which help the body process homocysteine, may be just as, if not more, responsible than the protein, than the flat-out protein intake. Homocysteine is a derivative of this really, really fascinating amino acid called methionine. It goes methionine and cysteine are like two peas in a pod. They're like yin and yang. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Forget that one. That was a bad metaphor. Cysteine comes from methionine. Cysteine is birthed from methionine through the transition point of homocysteine. And we're going to spend some time talking about methionine. Methionine has lots of trapped energy, or held energy is a better way of saying it. Methionine is a sulfur amino acid. It's got, like cysteine. All of this is about sulfur. Sulfur and the building amino acids, they're all part of upregulating the body's chemistry. Methionine is a carrier of a very, very fascinating upregulating molecule, a key upregulating molecule called a methyl. This is really fascinating stuff. Methylation. You probably heard of methylation. That's where the MTHFR thing comes from. Methylation. MTHFR is about methylation. Methyl is a activating switch. It's a carrier. It's carried on methionine. Methionine is a carrier for this activating switch. It's like a tow truck. You ever see those tow trucks that drive around the highways and they're looking around for cars that are dead to charge? That's kind of like methionine and methyl. Methyl is like the charger, and methionine is like the tow truck. We'll talk about that when we come back from our break, and continuing next week on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll be back right after.
The great.
All right, we are back on The Bright Side. Got lines open, 844-236-6010, and we'll get your calls in our next in just a little bit. I want to read a couple stories first. We do have lines open, so hang on. We'll get to you momentarily. 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side. If you have any questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, or anything we're speaking about here today. If you want to purchase longevity products, go to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com, or call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. If you want to purchase our True Skin Health products, go to truthtreatments.com. We got $10 off our Retinol Roller for the next, I'd say 24 hours at least, maybe 24 to 48 hours, at least 24 hours, $10 off. It's $69 ordinarily, now $59. And it is ideal and very cute and very handy little product for keeping in your purse or in your locker or in your drawer at work, for when you just catch that zit, you just see a blemish starting to show up. You put a little bit of our retinol spot treatment, Retinol Roller, on the blemish or on the blemish to be, and the blemish to be will not be. If you already have the blemish and you put it on, you'll speed up the healing dramatically. It's great for bug bites, our retinol spot treatment. It's great for little hyperpigmented or dark spots. And it is $59 for the next 24 hours for 2% retinol and 0.5% salicylic acid and vitamin C and vitamin E in medium chain triglycerides for transdermal penetration, because it's not what you put on your skin, it's what gets into your skin when it comes to taking care of your skin issues. Anyway, truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com for all our Truth Skin Health products. From the journal The Dermatologist, diet appears to affect outcomes of PDT for AK. PDT is photodynamic therapy. It's a particularly nasty dermatological procedure where they paint the skin with a photosensitizer, and they let you go home and then come back the next day, and they burn your skin with a light. They sensitize your skin with a chemical, something called ALA typically, aminolevulinic acid, and then you go home, you leave the stuff on your skin, you don't wash it off, and then you come back the next day to the dermatologist, and he puts a light on there, a special kind of light. I think it's a blue light, maybe a red light. It's a light that has a specific frequency, and it just fries the heck out of your skin. And that's how they treat certain skin cancers. They also actually treat certain lung cancers, esophageal cancer with it, basically burning the stuff off. Actinic keratosis is early skin cancer. And also, by the way, they use ADT just for general, PDT for general anti-aging. But as it turns out, according to this journal in The Dermatologist, patients who ate a vegan diet had poorer skin healing compared to those who consumed an omnivore diet, according to a study published online in the Journal of Dermatological Treatment. Quote, photodynamic therapy is an improved and effective treatment for actinic keratosis. The time of complete healing is estimated to range between 5 and 10 days, but the role of nutrition in influencing it has never been evaluated, unquote. So they tested nutrition. They found out if you didn't get enough nutrients, specifically proteins from meats, and also the building substances that we've been talking about. Vegans don't get as much of those building substances. I'm going to talk about that here in a second. And as it turns out, they didn't have the same healing prognosis. They didn't heal as well. So a couple things stand out here. First of all, there's this idea that there's a relationship between what we eat and how our skin appears. And I've been saying this for decades. It is just common sense when you think about it. I've observed it. The skin and what goes into the body internally through foods and supplements are like hand and glove. They go together. They absolutely 100% are linked. What we eat and what shows up on the skin. There is no doubt about it. This has been known in scientific realms for decades. Since they first discovered nutrients, since they first isolated vitamins and nutrients in the 1920s, the first thing they saw was that there was a relationship between deficiencies in the skin. Because it's very easy to see the skin. I mean, there were relationships between nutritional deficiencies in the liver, the health of the liver, and the health of the spleen, and the health of the lungs, etc. But you could see it on the skin. It was obvious on the skin, and because the skin moves so fast, it was obvious quickly. So you could take essential fatty acids out of the diet and have crappy skin in less than 30 days. You could take zinc out of the diet and have unhealthy skin in less than 14 to 28 days. You could see it right away. So there's no doubt about it. And now we have the Journal of Dermatological Treatment verifying that. This is a little bit different in the sense that they're relating it to building substances rather than micronutrients. But nonetheless, it's the same idea. What we eat and how our skin shows up are inextricably linked, tied together. And the second thing that's very interesting to me is this idea that vegans don't build as fast. And that could be good or bad. Because remember, we talked about in our last segment the relationship between how overbuilding can be a problem. Over-anabolism can be a problem if it's not balanced out correctly. If the raw materials aren't present and the protective micronutrients aren't present, it can be a problem. And this is why vegans sometimes have the mistaken idea that veganism has health benefits. It may have health benefits compared to over-inflammatory kinds of foods, these building foods, that are coming into the system without micronutrients and out of balance. And so it looks kind of like veganism is a good way to live. But if you think about it, human beings didn't grow up as vegans. And there's things in vegan foods that are important for human beings to grow with, or there's things that are not in vegan foods that are important for human beings to grow with. Anabolic substances. So It could be, I'm not saying I know this for sure, but it sure looks like it's a possibility that the benefits of veganism aren't necessarily associated with being a vegan as much as they're associated with not getting all of those out of balance anabolic substances that so many of us get when we eat at McDonald's or we subsist on fast food or the standard American diet. So number one, this article tells us that there's a very intimate relationship between food and diet and digestion and the skin. We knew that. And number two, it tells us that veganism may not be all that when it comes to building, and it leads one to believe that maybe veganism gets its supposed benefits not so much from the fact that you're eating lots of veggie, that you're eating vegan, but that you're not getting the out-of-control building substances that lead to clogs and cholesterol and inflammation and all of the problems associated with out-of-control building. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. Let's go to Boston and say good morning to Sally. What's up, Sally? How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you, Pharmacist Ben?
Doing good. What's going on?
Good. I enjoy your show.
Thank you.
I am a 70-year-old woman who was recently diagnosed with glaucoma suspect, and I have to go for a follow-up appointment. And I was wondering if there's anything I can do to improve that condition.
Are you on any medication, first of all?
I'm on a thyroid supplement and have been for about 35 years.
Perfect. That definitely that helps clarify some stuff. I love the term glaucoma suspect. You know what that means?
Yes. I don't know. I mean, is everybody?
It means they suspect. They don't know you have it. They suspect it.
Right. So I wonder what I should be on the alert to know that I really do have it, because I don't want to start treatment prematurely.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Glaucoma needs to be treated like a blood sugar problem, first and foremost. Now, when you have a blood sugar problem, that itself needs to be treated as a digestive problem. The fact that you're on thyroid medication almost guarantees. The fact that you're an American and 70 years old and you're living in the year 2019 almost guarantees, but taking thyroid medication even further guarantees that you have some kind of blood sugar issue. Hang on, we'll finish up when we come back from our break, Sally, okay? I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll return right after this. We are back on The Bright Side talking to Sally in Boston about glaucoma. Sally, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so glaucoma, it represents a biochemical dysfunction. Something's gone wrong with the biochemistry. But it's kind of confusing because we don't really understand the eye. So when you have glaucoma, it's like, what the heck? How does that happen? So glaucoma is a pressure issue, right? You know that probably.
Although my pressure is still within normal limits.
Right, that's why it's suspect. Still, they
Yeah.
call it glaucoma suspect. It doesn't matter if there's no limits. Those limits are just statistics. You know what I'm saying? I mean, normal limits doesn't mean anything. Do you have symptoms?
No.
Okay, so not the end of the world right there. I'd be more concerned with your thyroid issues, your blood sugar issues, things like that. Just for the listeners, the eyeball is like a little mini balloon, and its pressure is maintained by fluid. The fluid is supposed to drain. And when it doesn't drain, it can build up. The pressure can build up, and that's where you run into potentially some serious problems, especially damage to the optic nerve, and that can be a really big problem. You haven't noticed any vision loss in vision or anything,
No.
right? Okay.
No.
So it's not like it's the end of the world here. You want to start paying attention to your body. You're 70. You're on thyroid medication. That's the only medicine you're on?
Yes.
Oh, it's awesome. You're doing great. What other symptoms do you have? Any? Bodily?
No, I'm pretty healthy.
Why do you even need the thyroid? Who told you need thyroid? You've been on it for 35 years.
Right after childbirth, I became very
what?
hypothyroid.
Yeah, and you have no other symptoms, and you're not on any other meds. Probably don't even need that, or it's very likely you don't even need that. So what you want to do? You sound like you're doing. Yeah.
I was going to say I do check my blood glucose levels. I know that can be somewhat crude measure, but because I have a kit for my husband, I occasionally check it. And in fasting, I'm usually around 80. So I don't know if I have a glucose.
You're fine. How are you? Sugar isn't the ultimate parameter, but still, like you say, it's a nice crude measurement. What is it after you eat? How high does it get up after you eat?
You know, that I have not really tested, and
Okay.
I
sounds like you're doing fine. Sounds like you're doing fine. I'm not convinced you even need thyroid based on everything you're telling me, but you know, that's your business. What I'd be doing is just keeping on, whatever you're doing. Are you exercising?
Yep, I exercise regularly.
Sounds like you're doing awesome.
Simple carbs.
Make sure veggie juices.
I don't do any juicing. No,
Start
I
juicing.
eat my vegetables.
Juice it in addition to eating. You'll get a more concentrated you'll get more concentrated nutrition, and you'll get them quicker in your system quicker. And then, of course, the Healthy Start Pack I would be doing if you want to do some stuff directly for the eyes. Occutive. Sounds like you're doing totally great, though. I would hesitate to. I wouldn't worry about any of that stuff. And they don't even know if you have glaucoma. They said it's a suspect glaucoma, and you're 70. Most 70-year-olds are on multiple medications and have multiple symptoms. You're doing great.
Yeah.
What else?
Okay.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say the ophthalmologist said that she could put me on eye drops, and I really did not want to do that. So I have a follow-up, at which time I'm assuming she's going to encourage me to do the drops, and I don't really want to do that if I don't have to. You know, so that's why I thought, what else could I do to maintain my health and eye health?
The drops aren't the end of the world. They're not like a systemic medication, but it doesn't sound like you have any problems.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to, counteract what your doctor said, because she knows you better than I do. But it sounds like you're doing great.
Okay.
In my humble opinion. All right.
All right. Well,
thanks, Sally.
Keep it up.
Keep up the good work. All right. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. Let's go to Japan again and say hi to our friend Ria. What's up, Ria? Ria?
Hi, Pharmacist Ben. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. What's going on?
Today I'm calling on behalf of somebody else, and I have two questions.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
You're gonna laugh at me because now I'm thinking it's actually coffee.
No, why are you avoiding the most obvious stuff here?
Because
you don't want to hear it.
Because
you don't want to hear something, Ria.
My diet is so limited that
Well, it's not. What did you have for breakfast this morning? Well, how about, did you try fasting? Did you do the fast thing? Have you fasted?
Yes.
How long did you fast for?
1 day in between everything I tested.
You got to do a little more than that. But what happened? What did you notice?
My symptoms are better, but my rashes are better.
Your what?
My rashes are better. But yesterday I had coffee after a long time, and I got home and I saw like 2 little bumps on my cheek, and I was like, maybe it is coffee.
Maybe I just.
It was after.
Usually, when you're breaking out, just a general rule of thumb here. Okay, when you're breaking out, that involves the immune system. The immune system tends to be triggered by complicated molecules, complex proteins, globby things, not chemicals. Chemicals can cause toxicity, but the allergic type of reactions that are associated with rashes are usually associated with complex molecules, complex proteins, typically globby proteins. Like that's what gluten is. Eggs have it. Peanuts have these globby kind of proteins in them. They're complex. It's not like I'm allergic to B vitamins or I'm allergic to caffeine. You know what I'm saying? These are simple molecules that they can cause. Some of these simple molecules, like caffeine, may cause some kind of toxic reaction, some kind of liver reaction. But as far as the immune system goes, like inflammation, inflammatory kinds of reactions, those usually involve complicated things. And that's why dairy, eggs, legumes, what else? Gluten, bread.
But I did a whole day of fast.
Lectins.
I had 6 eggs in 1 day and nothing happened. It was like I tried all that stuff.
You had what?
Now I'm down to. I had.
You said you had 6 eggs
in 1 day.
So there wasn't eggs.
6 eggs in 1 day.
Then probably it wasn't eggs. Probably it wasn't eggs. Probably it's not eggs.
It wasn't eggs.
No, it sure looked looked to me like bread or dairy, or gluten or dairy, I should say. Or not necessarily gluten, flour or dairy. And keep in mind, hang on just a second, Maria. Keep in mind, when we talk about gluten, sometimes we forget that flour is the problem. It can be a problem independent of gluten. Gluten is one of the factors that's in flour. And by flour, I mean ground up grains. There's hundreds, dozens, maybe hundreds of factors somewhere in there. I don't know exactly, but there's lots of factors in flour that can be a problem even if the gluten is removed. So gluten-free doesn't get you out of the woods. It's these seed compounds in flour that are concentrated in flour. Because when you eat flour, you're getting way more than you would if you just ate a few seeds. So to me, when I saw that rash, I'm thinking bread, gluten, flour, that along those lines, cereal, along those lines, or maybe dairy. That's what it looked like to me. And that's just looks, but it could also be legumes too. What's that? And legumes are in everything, by the way. Soy, especially in Japan. Don't you guys have a lot of soy there?
Yeah.
It could easily be soy.
I don't even take soy sauce anymore because I'm scared.
Not so much sauce, but as a filler in other foods. As a filler. Soy flour is a filler. It contains compounds that you may be reacting to, and it looked like it could have been, I can't say for sure, but it looked like it could be something that's in a soy flour product, grain flour product, or possibly dairy, that kind of thing, or even just chickpeas or just legumes. Mystery. Okay, well, go ahead. We're going to run out of time, so how can I help?
I'm sorry. I wanted to ask you, I listen to like maybe 3 or 4 hours of your YouTube material every day, and I know that you used to be a bodybuilder. And I have a friend that is, and I'm calling on behalf of someone who's bodybuilding. He's 54 years old.
5'4"?
50 kg. I don't know how. Yeah, 5'4", I guess, yeah.
Okay,
70 kilograms. I don't know what that is in pounds.
Okay.
And it looks like to me that he's got a blood sugar issue, digestive issue.
How do you say? Why do you say? Tell me what was your clue?
Because he eats, or like we go out to dinner, and he's like, he instantly like almost drops to sleep like in front of me. He can't.
Good for you. Yeah, that's a sign of that. That's right. That's exactly what it is.
And
that's hyperinsulinemia. Too much insulin. That's too much insulin. So you want to start weaning himself off. Have him wean himself off of foods that throw off his sugar. Foods that spike his blood sugar. That's the first thing. Yeah.
You know how bodybuilders are told to take carbohydrates with protein? So
he needs the carbs, but he needs.
I really don't know how to explain that to him.
Yeah, I know that's tricky. Well, if he's falling asleep after he eats, we got to go here, Maria. But listen, if he falls asleep after he eats, then that should be his first clue that you might be onto something, and he should be listening to you. Hey, I got to go. We only have about 30 seconds here, my dear. If you call back, I hope that works out for you.
Okay, I'll call back.
Okay, call back. Thanks. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Check out our websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com for the longevity products. Truth Skin Health products for our Truth Treatment products. Got $10 off our retinol spot treatment. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Have a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.